Okay, guys, let's see who's in the stream. Sorry about that. A little bit of a gremlin there. In the dark, in the dark. Let's see. There's already 72 people, and I've just come out of the light. Right now, I wanted to show you something here. Juan Carlos, Dixie Enormous, great to hear from you all. Flores, I am Tilt, Tony Edwards, Oliver Tobias, good evening. Ian UK, good evening. Visa Runner, Asia Overland with Dave. Show Stoutemeyer, aka Pork Pie Pete. Hello from Miami, Florida. Okay, sounds absolutely fantastic. I'm sure those alligators there will love your pork pies anyway. Okay, it's like waiting for the clean. Give me a second because I just wanted to show you something. Except that I sort of knackered it up. Okay, I'm just going to do this now. Yeah, let's see. I just knackered something up a moment here, which is not I'm only human. It's Monday night. It's Monday evening. Let's see. It's Monday evening, and let me see. Can I get this? Can I get this? Is it here? I just want to show you. How is everybody, by the way? 50 pence in the meter, Eddie. Yeah, absolutely. I get you, man. I get you. I get you. No, Jesus Christ, it is not here. It doesn't appear to be here, does it? No, it doesn't appear to be here. Oh my God, what a turkey. What a turkey. What an absolute turkey. I'm looking something there on the screen. I made a nice intro. Well, I don't mean the one that was on before. I mean a nice intro, but I can't seem to find it right here. Here we go. Okay, this is it. I'll get my act together sooner or later. Okay, please allow me. I just want to show you something for 90 seconds. This is the new entry. I'm still learning on this bloody StreamYard thing here, but anyway, just bear with me. This was meant to be the intro. Okay, now I hope you enjoyed that. That was meant to be the intro, except I sort of knackered it up. Anyway, so a couple of comments here. An interesting one here from Ian Bowden. How are you, Ian Bowden? Hi, Eddie. Got our Thai pass approved today. Terrific. Well done, mate. Now the question is, when are you going? Because I'm heading out to Thailand in 6 weeks' time, beginning of January. And I know people who are also going in the month of January. And I know a few of them who've actually got through their Thailand pass already. But then a little bird told me that you can't actually apply. I'm not so sure about the details of this. I haven't checked out that you can't actually complete the pass until, you know, a month before you're going. So I'm not really so sure of that. When exactly, Ian, are you heading out to Thailand? And is that right? You know, it's got to be within the month before you fly out. Okay, Sean Griffiths, bloody cold tonight. By the way, did you anyone see my my intro? What did you think of it? A little bit of a blast in the past there. Okay, good. It's let's see. Johnny Baser, yeah, okay. I put that on Facebook. Yeah, that's my. Well, it was going to be my new intro, except I sort of knackered it up. Okay. Basically, yeah. Johnny B, you know, said, you know, it's a soft porn tune. It sounds like a 70s porn movie or whatever. I mean, not that I would know. I don't watch stuff like that. Okay. Johnny B, definitely robbed the music with soft porn music. It's actually on YouTube. YouTube's, you know, own music, YouTube audio library. Paul Hoskin, no turkey for Christmas at home. Enjoy some gabbling in Thailand instead. Okay, good for you, mate. Someone else said that in 1970s porn music. Samuel Hudson, cheers to you. Let's see. Kenny J, what 1 hour intro leaves 15 minutes to talk? No, it was an hour and 40 minutes. No, sorry, 1 minute 40 that was. Thailand bound. Nice to hear from you, Peter. Really good to hear from you, mate. Yeah, good to see that your channel is doing so well. Really good luck to you, mate. I'm confirmed on a Thai Airways flight in the middle of December. I received my Thailand pass QR code today. Next stop, Soi 4. Good for you, mate. Good for you. I hope it all works out. Now Ian, I really do hope it all works out for you. I'd love to meet up here, except I'm not going to the beginning of January. I know we have different working conditions, really. Ian Bowden, 5th of January. Okay, Ian, the 5th of January. So you've completed your Thailand pass now, and it's all worked well, but you're not going out there until the 5th of January. So does this mean that I'm going out there at a similar time? Maybe I could do my pass pretty soon, but because I did hear from someone that it's got to be within the month before you fly out. Seamus Doherty, great interview, directed by Edward Sweeney, produced by Edward Sweeney, and starring Edward Sweeney. Okay, I will award myself an Oscar. And the winner for the best 90-second intro goes to me, Eddie Sweeney. Okay, thanks for that, mate. Okay, Sean Griffith's intro was okay. Is that all? You know, okay. Not great, not spectacular, not wonderful, just okay. Kicks TV, very 80s, Eddie, okay? It's a bit of a blast from the past. I think I've got some of the little snippets which I can include in my live streams. Hopefully I'll you know, some nice little ones that I think you'll like. I'll sort of brighten everything up a bit, okay? Daniel Carl Timpany, it was a Quinn Martin production, okay? Craig Robinson, good evening, Eddie. Good to see you again. Good to see you as well, mate, okay? Hard Tulip, intro, very Starsky and Hutch. Somebody, Mr. Atkinson, who is a Facebook friend of mine, he watches these videos, he suggested I should use the music. And I think the title of the music is it's by Lalo Schifrin. It's called The Strip Club, and it's from that scene in Dirty Harry, that one of the best films ever made of all time, where Clint is stalking the killer, and you know he stalks him. You know, he's even in a strip joint. He's stalking that killer. He's not going to let him get away. And the fantastic jazzy, sleazy music by Lalo Schifrin. I would like to have used that, but that would have been copyrighted material. Because if I used that, I could have called myself Dirty Eddie then, couldn't I? Wouldn't be the first one to call me that. Okay. Maybe that's nomad overseas. Maybe that's a recent change about the Thai pass. I got mine over a week ago. We're not traveling until December the 18th. Okay. Now I've only heard it once that it has to be within. It was somebody who messaged me to say it's got to be within. The month before you fly out. So it's not. Don't take that as gospel. Maybe it's wrong information. So please don't quote me on that. But good luck to you anyway, mate. Good luck to you. Let's see. Philip Wolf Rumble War Room Pandemic episode 14. This is Crimes into Humanity. What's it, Eddie? On what is that? Is that on Netflix? Is it? Okay. Chris Williams. Chris, I just had my Thailand pass today. I fly on the 16th of December for 6 weeks. 16th of December for 6 weeks. That sounds bloody good. Good for you, mate. Good for you. In Pattaya and Bangkok. Can't wait to turn the phone off and enjoy 6 weeks with my Thai girlfriend. Fantastic. Good for you, mate. I hope all the bars. I think with Pattaya now, there was devastating news the other week, wasn't there, when they said that all the bars are going to be closed. It seems like the country Thailand is sort of picking on Pattaya. Someone referred to Pattaya as the black sheep of Thailand. I suppose that's an unpolitically correct phrase to use in this day and age. But other places like Phuket and Bangkok, they're starting to open. But this, I'm not really keen on the, especially if it's Suet with Pattaya. I'm not keen on the idea of going there and find all the bars and restaurants. Just how far can you go with that? How far? I want go-go bars. I want go-go bars. I want live bands. There was great live bands that they have in Walk and See. If you haven't got that and you haven't got my favorite go-go bars, then I don't really think it's worth going to Pattaya. Kicks TV, hoping with some good news on Friday about Pattaya. Well, let's hope it all works out. William, Thailand or Cambodia, which is better, Eddie? This is interesting, okay? No, this is very, very interesting because it's interesting because Cambodia, the way it is that it's now open. It's open without the 2-week quarantine and also without other restrictions. I think you've got to have your PCR test done within 72 hours of traveling. That's always a pain in the neck, okay? And you may have to have a rapid antigen test when you get there, but provided you've been double vaccinated, then it's provided you're double vaccinated, you're free to go. But as Cambodia got a lot to offer, what Cambodia has to offer, especially now Sihanoukville's gone down the Swanee River. As Cambodia got a lot to offer that could be compared with Thailand. Well, that's a whole subject in itself. We'll talk about that some other time, maybe later or maybe in another stream. But Cambodia seems to be very, very much so, and maybe that's forcing other neighbouring countries to do likewise. Okay. Rant and Rave 30. You can apply for Thailand Pass as soon as you have all the required documents. Okay, so next week, Thailand Pass. Okay, for me, next week, Thailand Pass for me. I've got to get it done. I do not want to leave things to the last minute because I'm a bit of an idiot for that. For leaving things to the last minute. I'm not the only one, but I do have a knack of doing that, and I'm probably not the only one either. I want to get it all nice and sorted, so hopefully all the stuff that I need to get ready will be ready before the end of November, which is, when's the end of November? Well, next week, isn't it? It's barely about a week or so. Hopefully by beginning of December, I'll have it all sorted so that I can just, get on and do things in December and, sit back knowing that everything's sorted. So what this week, right, there's a number of things that I've got to do. I'm not going to leave to the last minute. A number of things that I've got to do. And the first thing I've got to do this week, it's not absolutely essential, but I think it will be essential. I have got to get that booster, okay? The booster. I've been double vaccinated. The booster, apparently, it makes you, far more secure, less likely to get the old antivirus when you have the booster. And what I don't like, with our medical system, you can't bloody book an appointment. It's so frustrating now. And what they're saying, just turn up at your local sports centre. That's in my case, my local sports centre. Just turn up there and stand in the queue. Now, I actually met a nurse the other day who actually works there, okay? And I said, how long are we going to wait? And she said, basically, it could be anything between 15 minutes and 2 hours. I like the first one better. I like the 15 minutes bit. But she gave me advice. She said, turn up there early in the morning and, it should be okay. On a weekday, of course, on a weekday. And basically, I've heard a few times 15 minutes, but I have heard that, if you're unlucky, it is up to 2 hours. I mean, I'm not going to drive to that sports centre. I'm not going to drive there. I'm going to get a taxi there because it's not far away. I'll get a taxi there. I'll stand in the queue. Hopefully it's not too long. and I'll get me booster. No, this is the thing, you know, people talk rubbish, don't they? They fill you all full of scare stories. No, before I had my first vaccine, you know, people who had had it, you know, were telling me all the horror stories. Oh, I had that jab, and Jesus Christ, I was sick for days. I was throwing up and all that. And this is all I need to hear. So I went and had my first jab, yeah, and then it was fine, not a problem. Didn't have any side effects, no problem. And then I hear from a lot of people, but it's not the first one that gets you. It's the second one that gets you. That's the one that makes you sick and laid up. I had my first jab, not a problem. The second one, laid in bed for days and felt like I was going to die and all the rest of it. I thought, okay, fine. So I went and had my second vaccine, and it was absolutely fine. No problem at all. No problem. Breathed through it, not a problem. And now I'm faced with the booster. And I heard quite a lot of people saying, those first two vaccines were a doddle, not a problem. It's the booster that makes you sick. That's the one that nearly knocks you for dead. Aren't people full of shite? Yeah, but people do talk shite, don't they? Jesus Christ. I'm going to have my booster this week. I've got to get that nasty ordeal out of the way with. And at least it's because it's not essential just yet, but I think it will be in the future. It will be in the future. Let's see. Let's see. The Throbbing Thumb. Yeah, okay. Tilly Hurt, starring Linda Lovelace and King Dong. Okay, yeah, okay. Well, I'm not Linda Lovelace. I must be the other one. Yeah. Okay. Paul Powell. Let's see. Jay Frey, music befitting a man who likes some stuff on the tag. Okay. And Nomad Overseas, the music was like sort of one of those Alan Bleasdale TV plays when I was a kid. Okay, you must be a lot younger than me because I was already an adult when Alan Bleasdale made his name. Boys in the Black stuff, yeah, that was my era. That sad era in Liverpool when there was no work anywhere. The recession there. Yeah. Giz a job. Go on, I know you got one. One. Giz a job. Giz it. Jesus Christ Almighty. That's good. That was 40 years ago. That was. El Terrifico, Eddie, it's almost time for a haircut. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I'll probably get a shave as well. You never know. Ian Bowden, it has to be within a... Ian Bowden, if it has to be within a month of time, then we have to do the pass again. We both... No, don't take my word for it. That was just something that somebody mentioned to me. Somebody commented there has to be within a month. It seems to be wrong because other people are saying differently. If you've got your pass... Great, good for you, mate. I think it's I think that's the script, though. But I think that's the script. Oh, by the way, we've got a guest coming on tonight. It's not a YouTuber. It's somebody who comments on Facebook. But I think he's an interesting guy. So we've got to start inviting people on this program. So we're going to invite a guy very, very soon. We're going to have a guy who's done a lot of traveling, and he will have something interesting to say. So we're not going to be totally alone here. And he may give a good input onto Thailand. Maybe he knows more about it than I do. Let's see. Craig Robinson. I'm booked for February. I feel like a child waiting for Father Christmas. Good for you, mate. Good for you. Aston Vargas, Jesus Christ, the way my growth is going, I could pass for bloody Father Christmas, couldn't I? Okay, Aston Vargas, the border Philippine will open in a few days, guys. The border Philippine will open in a few days, guys. Okay, that sounds terrific. Johnny B, smutty music suits it, pal. Don't worry. Okay, sleazy. Yeah, you sleazy. Well, I could have put that striptease music on, couldn't I? Paul UK, the only get a month of yeah. Okay, Paul Hoskin, I love salty nuts. Okay, good for you, mate. Good for you. Evening, Eddie. I'll see you in Patagonia in January. Thank you. Let's hope we can both get out there without a problem. Timothy Rogers, good morning from USA. How are you doing, Eddie? I'm doing okay. I'm taking a nice little crony here. Nice little crony. Let's see. Oh, by the way, before I forget, there's 255 people watching right now. We're 22 minutes past 10. Past 10 at 10 in the UK. Now, let me just give a big shout out to The guy who was on this show on Thursday. Did you see that live stream? Big Fat Bestie. Wasn't he the most superb guest? He was absolutely terrific. Such an interesting guy, such a great personality. I said to him, beforehand, he'd probably come on for about half an hour. He ended up going on for 2 hours, didn't he? Whatever. Now, he was very, very entertaining. If you haven't checked out that stream from Thursday night, he was a terrific guy. Now, and also Steph, my good friend Steph from a week before, he's a good guy. So I've been lucky up to now. The two people who've been on. The two YouTubers who've been on this StreamYards have both been really, really, good. They've been terrific guests. I think Big Fat Bestie nowadays he calls his channel Big Fat Bestie the Travel Wars or something like that. Go check him out. Let's hope we can all get traveling again soon. So big thanks for him being a guest the other night. Ian Bam, we paid about 240 quid for the first night. Quarantine hotel in Bangkok, including the hotel transfer and test to release. Okay. Well, good luck to you. Like I say, you've done your. I'll repeat what I said before. Don't listen to me because I'm. When I mentioned on just one person, it was only one person who said it has to be with them on. It's clearly wrong. That so don't listen to me, Ian. Good for you, mate. Let's see. Who said that? Somebody just said, Crispy 1963, absolutely dreading the plan of this Thai pass, not got a clue about the tech stuff. Well, I'm like that as well, mate. What has uplifted me a little bit is that, I'm a bit embarrassed because I get frustrated with online forums. I mean, Jesus Christ, computers and all this kind of stuff can be, I was very, very late coming to the internet. I mean, it can be extremely, extremely, extremely frustrating. Oh my God, almighty. And you tend to think, it's just me or just you. But I'm kind of uplifted that people who seem to be far more proficient with the internet and computers and the technological world seem to be having terrible problems with this. I wouldn't be surprised if the ironic thing is that us who are not so proficient may well sell to. I've heard so much about it. You've got to have this JPEG. You've got to present your files in a JPEG format. Also, when it goes for the email, you not to put in your Hotmail or Outlook. You've got to put in your Gmail instead. So I'll tackle that next week. Next week I'll tackle that. But this week I'm going to get up and I'm going to go to my local sports centre and get that bloody booster jab, and to hell with it. Let's see. Now, what have we got now? Shannon, thank you. Buy me a drink in Pattaya. I'd like to be in Pattaya. I think, to be honest, unless a medical happens in Pattaya, I imagine I'm going to be getting in Bangkok and Phuket. I would imagine that, because they seem to be rocking and rolling right now. It wouldn't be my choice, but there'll be plenty of interesting things to report. Plenty of interesting things, to report and do YouTube videos on. Plenty of stuff. But it's plenty of interesting stuff. It will be expensive. It will be expensive, but in Phuket, from what I hear. But then that'll probably just encourage me to drink less. Serves me right. It's about time I drank less beer. Okay. Brian Hudson, Eddie, I did the Thailand pass today for my friend. It took 40 minutes to prepare and 9 seconds for it to be approved. I hope it goes that way. I hope it goes the same way for me. Ross River, I just don't believe they want the scene we enjoyed before. Okay, I just don't believe they want the scene we enjoyed before. Well, things are changing. Everything changes. I mean, just because you're so used to Thailand being one way doesn't mean that it's going to be like that forever. Okay, doesn't mean that it's going to be like that forever. I mean, look at Sihanoukville in Cambodia. Wonderful ramshackle, raw edge, rough around the edges, great fun beach resort. Don't assume it's going to be like that forever, because it's not now anyway. It's a Chinese casino city by the sea. That's what it is now. Yeah, here we go. Tony Edwards. Okay, okay, good for you, mate. Yeah, Simon has it. All these 20 people who've had their booster. No one has fallen ill. Okay. Paul UK had booster 1 week ago. It's just the same as first and second dose. No problem. Eddie, you can only do pass within a month of going. Why no? What's this? What's this, Paul UK? Eddie, you can only do pass within a month of going because our vaccine. I'm hearing different things. Oh, Paul UK saying you can only do pass within a month. Well, I don't know. That's the second time that I've heard that. You know, please check. Please check. Don't take my word for everything. You must check yourself. Let's see. Kicks TV. Dirty Massage. Oh, yeah. Paul Hoskins. What's the first you were doing? You didn't retire. Okay. Kicks TV. Dirty Massage, I'm sure. Okay, yeah. That is a bloody good bet. That is bloody good bet. Devil's Den, Alan Wickett. Okay. Right. Now, what I'm going to do now. Shannon Bestie is a top lad, always positive and funny. Absolutely, absolutely. Do you know something? That live stream went on so long the other night. You may have noticed that Bestie was talking about, but whereas me, I was drinking a lot. That lovely Lidl's brandy, the cognac version. After a while of that, one too many, and I just let Bestie do the talking. But it was great. It was great stuff. It was a really good chat that we had. In fact, afterwards, it put me on such a good frame of mind that Steph, the wonderful Steph Traveller, was actually doing a late night stream, and I like it because he does his streams in the early hours of the morning. And basically, I went on his stream for half an hour, and it was just nice going on there. I always think of his late night streams as the one for the road. I've done my stream. I've had a few beers, something to eat. One for the road. You know what I mean? You don't have to leave the house now to have company. It was nice going on his late night stream. So anyway, here we go. Listen, a lot of chat here. Okay. Robert Jones. Heads you can't go, whatever. Heads you can't rise to the occasion after that booster. Why have you got something bloody bland? I mean, I'd say, what have you seen my 20-stone wife? I mean, it's not as much of it's not as much as rising to the occasion. It's more like bloody raising the dead. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Okay, Steph Traveller's here. Edward, you're always welcome. Oh, don't call me Edward. I hate that bloody. It's horrible, that name. It's Eddie. Okay. Or Steady. Steph Traveller. Edward, you're always welcome. Live now, one for the road. Okay. You never know. You never know when this stream's finished, and it probably won't go on that long. It's just getting together and whatever. But it's just getting together and all of that. But you never know. I might just come on later, Steph, and we'll have a late night beer. It's nice having a little late night beer. With Steph Traveller. Good company, good late night chat. Now, I'll tell you what I'm going to do now. I'm going to bring on a guest. Let's see if he messaged me on Facebook. There we go. Has he messaged me on Facebook? Let's see. What have we got now? I heard something. Let me see now. Okay, here we go. Okay. Give it a couple of minutes. I'm just going to play this because that little video with the music and all of that kind of stuff went down so well that I'm sure you'll want to see it again. And I will have some other ones lined up. Okay, here we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I hope you enjoyed that. No, we're not doing that. I'm going to invite somebody on here. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay. Let me see now. There we go. So I think I've done that right. Okay, now I think I've done that right. I've got my mobile phone here and just waiting for someone to appear in the... But in the meantime, let me tell you something. This is the Reverie from Lidl's. There's a weaker version. This is the regular nice version. It's about 14.5 quid a bottle from Lidl's. Bloody nice stuff. But I must admit, I really, 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 really did enjoy. I really, really, really did enjoy that cognac version last week. Now, have I done this properly? No, that's something else. That's something else, that is. That's something else, okay? Okay, did I not post a link? I didn't get the link. Okay, we better do this again. We better do this again, because I had this problem the other day, didn't I, before Bestie came on. I had this problem the other day, okay? Let's do this again, yeah. I had this the other day. I just had this the other day. Let's see. It was quite frustrating the other day, you know, where before Bestie came and Steph came on without a problem. Steph is the wizard. He's miles ahead. Bo de Zephyr says that Reverie has the patch on to use. This is we've got somebody here now. Okay, now let me introduce it. Oh geez, this mobile phone. I'll get my act together sooner or later. Okay, I'll get my act together. Right now, this is a guy who you may recognize his name from the chat. He does come in the chat. He's also a Facebook friend of mine, and he's. Well, I'll let him tell you exactly where he is. Sooner or later, I've got to start inviting people on from these great names that I've got to know on the chat here, and a lot of people, we'll get our act together and get some regulars coming on. Okay, but I'd like to give me a big hand for the guy. His name is. He's going to pronounce his name. I know him as David R. But anyway, let's invite him here. Anyway, okay, it's Big Dave. Yes, can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Big Dave. Anyway, so you're coming all the way from. I had a feeling that when you appeared on the stream, bearing in mind what is it? It's after 10:30 in the UK right now, and it is cold. The temperature has really, 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 really dropped. Really dropped the last couple of days. It's very, very cold now. I had a sneaky feeling that when you appeared here, you were going to have a sunny Californian background behind you.
Oh, yeah. I wish I had one of those cool backgrounds like you, but I don't do this too often, so it's not worth my investment.
Okay. Well, it's so basically, you're tell us where you are right now.
I'm in glorious Huntington Beach, California, and it is 78 degrees right now.
78 degrees. That sounds fantastic. That sounds absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as someone, I've got to confess, I've never actually been to America. It's not a country I've ever tried. I've meant to go there many, many times, but I ended up going to Asian and Latin American countries, obviously because they're far better value and I can travel around a lot. Yeah.
You're welcome to come here at any time.
Yeah, I would love to see California. If somebody once said to me, like, if you were to go to America, what reason would you want to go to America? And the obvious reason that I would like to go to America, I would like to go there because I've always been a movie fan. And all of my favorite, I bet everyone, if you ask anyone to name their top 10 favorite movies of all time, probably about 9 of them will be set in America, from from New York, San Francisco. I'd like to see all the cities where my favorite movies were shot, but I just never got around to it, So anyway, tell us, you've traveled quite a lot, haven't you, David?
Yeah, as I was telling you offline, I'm a retired NASA, basically a scientist, but I've worked more as a space engineer. So while there, I was there about 15 years. While I was there, I traveled pretty extensively for work. So I've been to about 52 countries. And as you can see by my hat, I did go to Antarctica. I went to the South Pole twice. So I can legally say I've been to every continent.
Yeah. That's absolutely amazing. Well, that's absolutely amazing. So, how did you find the South Pole? Basically, I mean, well, you sort of you headed south, and it was as far as you could. You got there, yeah.
Basically, take whatever temperature you're at and put a minus sign on it, and that's the South Pole.
I'm sure I would find that interesting. Obviously, I think you've got to have a purpose for being in a place like that. Do they actually get tourists? People
no, it's not allowed. You have to be, with a research group. They actually do have this tiny little company that runs out of Chile called Adventure Networks that used to take people down, I heard, for about $40,000 or $50,000, and you only had about an hour there because basically the United States runs the base down there, and so they don't really allow foreigners to come in, but they can't stop someone from landing on the runway.
Really?
So when they bring those people in, it's just a little Twin Otter turboprop they come in on, and they'll basically let them stop, but they don't give them any service.
Okay. So, well, what I read, I mean, the furthest south that I've been is a place called, I believe it's pronounced Bariloche in Argentina, and I think that is the gateway to Patagonia. Now, I would love to have seen. Apparently, Patagonia is one of the most spectacular places on the planet. I never got around to seeing it. I was traveling around South America for 6 months, mainly by public bus, and the furthest south I got in Argentina was Bariloche. And people said, it's such a beautiful, charming town and wonderful. Well, they certainly look very, very alpine. But then I thought to myself, I come all this way to see something that looks like Argentina. If I want alpine, I'll go to Switzerland or Austria, which is much closer to where I live.
Well, when we go down, when somebody's going down as part of the U.S., we would go through Christchurch, New Zealand. That's where the U.S. has a naval base there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this, Ed, but Christchurch, New Zealand is known as the most English city outside of England.
Yeah.
That's its nickname.
I've never been to New Zealand, but what I've heard about that place is that it's like England was many, many years ago.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, when I was growing up, I didn't like England very much then. So there's certain countries that are really not for me. I like raw-edged, cultural third world countries. They're more my bag, really. But but I mean, that sounds really good. But what I did when I done my research in those days, but this is about 10 years ago or so, was basically the Lonely Planet guide. I was quite a latecomer to the internet. I didn't use it that much, but I used to read all my information on the Lonely Planet guide, and it was fascinating. The Lonely Planet guide. I don't know how many people actually use that nowadays, but that was a book. If you've got an interest and a thirst for travel, you pick up that book, the Lonely Planet guide. You think, I'll have a glance at this for a couple of minutes, and about 3 hours later, you're still going through. I mean, it was fantastic. But what I did here is that if you go to the southernmost tip of Argentina, I think there's a bar there that says this is the most southerly bar in the world, but the Lonely Planet guide said no, it isn't. You'd be disappointed because someone's got that beat. It's in Antarctica. They've got the most southerly bar in the world.
That's correct.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I was to buy a pint of beer in the most southerly bar in the world, how much have you got to charge me for it?
We did have a bar down there, and it was called 90 South.
Yeah, yeah. So 1990 South. You know, I can imagine they can charge what they want for the pint of beer. Let's have a little look. Uh, let's have a little look at the chat here. Somebody, Paul Jones, going about offshore bar. Sure, okay. Ian Bowden, Lonely Planet was my travel and means of info up to about 10 years ago. I used to love that. I honestly, once you pick it up, you just can't put it down. I don't use it now. I mean, you do the research on the internet, plus the fact that a lot of the countries I go to nowadays are countries where I already know the script anyway. But the Lonely Planet card, I don't know, what happens to that anyway. It's gone, but it was wonderful anyway. The rough guides, I never liked the rough guide. Didn't like that one.
If I can add a comment there, Ed.
Yeah.
My first trip overseas back in 1992 with a college buddy of mine, we grabbed a couple Lonely Planet guides, and our first destination was merry old England in London.
Really?
London was the first place I ever went to out of the U.S.
1992.
1992.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm from the exotic city of Liverpool.
We didn't get there.
Yeah, I tell you what, I grew up in the 1960s and 70s dreaming of going to live in London, because you just, I grew up in a city that was very, very negative. I hear that it's all right now, but very, very negative in my day. And then you've got the recession in the 80s. I just wanted to get out of there. I grew up dreaming of going to live in London, because that was a real city. That's where things were happening. And I ultimately felt disappointed. The thing about London, great city to visit, terrible place to live in. Unless, of course, you've got mega amounts of money, you're in with the right people, you've got a great career, whatever. None of those applied to me when I lived there. I lasted 6 months in London. I couldn't wait to get out of there, to be honest with you. But I think nowadays, I think you've got to be, from what I was talking to a London fella the other day. From what I hear, you've got to be a bloody millionaire to have a decent lifestyle there anyway now. The house prices are so expensive.
I believe they call that Knightsbridge.
Knightsbridge. Well, that's a very, very expensive place. That's where all the sort of upper class aristocrats go. That's where they live. But
yep.
Daniel Mill, a couple of comments here. Chaz Brown, Londistan now. No thanks. No, we're not going to get into the unpolitically correct stuff. Daniel Mills, no offense to anyone, but you wouldn't want to live in London now. I don't want to live in London. I don't want to live there. The thing is, London is a great place to visit. Fantastic place to visit. Well, I think it was last year about 15 years ago. I went to the Indian Embassy. What I like about central London, it's one of those places where you meet a stranger and people will talk to you. You know what I mean? I mean, the thing is, in London, you go up to an ATM to draw money, and then some Romanian fellow will come out of nowhere and strike up a conversation. He'll even help you to put the numbers into the ATM. You know what I mean? But it's a great place to visit, London, great stuff. But if you lived there, you wouldn't be living in central London. You would be living in some grotty suburb. And believe me, those grotty suburbs outside of the city centre are really grotty. You just wouldn't want to be there. So anyway, about your travel, David, been to 52 countries. That sounds absolutely amazing. I never give my number out, simply because I have a problem with numbers. Is that people know that I travel quite a lot. And if I was to say the real number of countries I've been, if someone to say to me, how many countries have you been to? If I was to give them the number, they'd probably say to me, really? I thought you'd been to more than that. They'd probably end up ultimately disappointed. Rather like this may seem like a strange comparison, but rather like Dolly Parton never gives out vital statistics of her boobies. She just doesn't give them out because they may look huge, but if she was to give the actual number, put a tape measure across the chest and say that's how big my boobs are, it would probably, most people would probably say, well, my wife's are bigger than that. Then strange comparison anyway. But this is the tone that we are. So of those countries that you've been to, tell us about a few of them. Which ones really stand out as great traveling experiences?
Well, to tell you the truth, I went to every country in Europe pretty much every major country with a traveling buddy of mine when we were in school. And we got so tired and bored of it, we started going to Asia back in 1999.
Yeah.
That was actually my first stop in Thailand. And after
Yeah.
that, I just fell in love with it, and I stopped going to Europe. I only traveled to Europe when I was on business travel.
Yeah.
Let somebody else pay for it. I haven't paid a dime of my own money to go to Europe since '99.
That sounds like a bloody good job that you've got, David.
So, and since then, I went to every country in Asia except for North Korea. I actually did have plans to go to North Korea before the kid got in there. But after he got in, it started getting too hostile for Americans and things like that. So I just canceled it.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I'm sure you've been some fascinating countries. No, I mean, Europe. I grew up when I grew up. I'm a film fan. I love the movies. I love, American movies, but I also love European movies. I love European locations. I didn't travel when I was young. I never went anywhere. And I grew up, and Europe was the place that I wanted to go to because I'd seen all these movies, like James Bond movies and everything, all these amazing sites and buildings from Venice to Rome, to Paris and all that. And Europe looked to me like an amazing place. And I thought, I've got to go and visit all of these places. I've got to go and see all these places. And now I've been to the Vatican, I've been up the Eiffel Tower, I've been to Venice and all this kind of stuff. But at this stage, I think I've done enough of Europe now. I mean, how many buildings? I don't need to see any more famous historical buildings. I really don't need to see any more. They are fantastic to say I've been there and done that. But I'm not a historical building nerd. If someone was to say to me, how many famous buildings in Europe have you seen? If I was to name them, and then if they was to say, oh yeah, but you haven't seen, this legendary building in this city, so you're not complete yet. I'd say, that's a hell. I've seen all of Europe that I really want to see. It's a fan. I've nothing but the highest regard for Europe. I mean, in what is really quite a small continent, most of the history of the world comes from that small continent, the languages. And I think Europe's an amazing place. But I've been there and done that. And at my stage in life now, it's not for me anymore. I think I'm done with Europe. I did really enjoy my recent visit to Athens and Crete. But I don't think I really, really need to see anymore. I think I'm done with Europe. I felt this way when I returned from my 6 months trek around South America. I remember I was kind of worn out with it. And I thought to myself, it's been amazing. I'm really, really glad that I've been there and done that. But I think in future, I will be going to countries which I enjoy rather than countries which I find interesting. I don't really, at this stage now, I don't really want to go to countries which I find interesting because I think I've been there and done that. I just want to go to countries where, I can relax, soak up the sun, get a dirty massage, you know what I mean? Okay.
A country that really stood out for me, I went there 3 times. They were all for work, but was South Africa. I don't know if you've been there, Ed. We had a great time down there. It's dangerous and everything, but we had a great time down there.
Yeah, I've heard it's a wonderful country. I've never been there. It seems to me that I always thought South Africa was one of the more advanced countries in the African continent, and it does have a dreadful reputation being extremely dangerous, doesn't it? I've never actually. I would like to see South Africa, but I've never actually made it. The only African country I've been to, I went there about 6-7 years or something like that. I'd done a month traveling around Ethiopia, and that was really interesting. It was really, really interesting. Now, you ask most people from England, you mentioned Ethiopia. What's the first thing they think of? I must admit, I'm like that. I think I first heard of it with Live Aid and the famine and all that kind of stuff. But it was a very interesting. One thing I did think about Ethiopia, it's got the most amazing variety of local beers. Hakim Stout, Amber Beer, lovely. I was sitting in little ramshackle bars, which were like something out of a spaghetti western with a bunch of Ethiopians, and it's really quite a safe country, Ethiopia. Some of the neighboring countries are, but the Ethiopians were generally good. I thought, only the taxi drivers, the only drivers I had with taxi drivers, they were bastards. They were, for trying to rip you off. They really were. But it was a good, interesting experience. But I wouldn't really be queuing up to go to Africa again. I really wouldn't. I think I'll just stick to Asia. Let's see. Anything interesting in the chat? Paul Jordan, EDO. No, that's not a healthy comment. That Thailand bound. Thailand bound. Big Dave is David. Your name is David R. What is your complete second name? Do you mind telling us, or if you don't want to, then don't tell us.
I'm not Russian, but it's an old Russian name, and I don't like it, and that's the only one in the country here, so I'd rather not give that out.
Okay, we won't give that. We won't give that out. Then we won't give it out. We'll keep it on. David. David or Big Dave. Big Dave, by the way, is somebody who appears in the chat. He's a Facebook friend of mine. So I thought, I'd bring people in anyway because this is late night chat. This is late night in England. Dave's in California. I thought he was going to show some lovely Californian background, but he's somewhere else in his house. And anyway, for what it's worth, I don't like my name. My name is pure Irish, Sweeney. That's pure Irish name. I've never been to Ireland. I like Irish people, but I've just never been to Ireland because, well, it's cold and wet and it's got a similar climate to England, doesn't it? So I might go to hot countries. Let's see.
I've been to Ireland and Northern Ireland and enjoyed them both.
Yeah, you really have. Apparently, it's a lovely. It's a lovely. I'm sure there's some lovely countryside, but I've actually been to surprisingly few places in England, and nowadays the only two places I go in England are really where I live and Heathrow Airport. They're the only two places really. So anyway, about your forthcoming travel, do you have plans for Thailand at the moment?
Yeah, I'm going to wait till after New Year's. My plan is February at the earliest.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine lives in Chicago, and we're both kind of targeting that date. I'm actually not vaccinated yet, so you can scream at me all you want. I'm kind of waiting till the last moment. So I plan on getting the vaccine only to go to Thailand.
Yeah.
And then start booking right after New Year's. Now, as you know, Ed, I've told you I own a condo over there, so I have a stake in
it. Yeah. Oh, your condo. I won't obviously ask you details about it. I obviously won't ask you details about your condo, but how long have you had that exactly? Well, that's not really a detail. It's just a casual question.
I'll give you the basics. It's in near Jomtien Beach down in Pattaya.
Yeah.
I bought it in 2012 as an investment property.
Yeah.
And so I got a really good deal on it. And then it took them 4 years to build it. I bought it, before construction. And I've had it ever since. I love it. It's just a small 1-bedroom condo. I go over there for a couple months, hang out. I don't just sit in the condo. I hang out for a week and then I travel like you. I go to Cambodia. I go to Taiwan. I go wherever. I like to travel around and just come back to it's nice to have a place where you can just leave all your stuff.
Yeah.
So
well, absolutely, Dave. The problem that I actually bought an apartment, a lovely big apartment in Turkey, in the country of Turkey. Longer ago than about 17 years ago, and it was a beautiful apartment, fantastic climate, gorgeous land, and I have not but good things to say about the landscape of Turkey. Absolutely beautiful. But the fact is, it's when you buy a property abroad, you then find, but I also want to go to other places, and it becomes like a little bit of a burden sometimes. To you. And Turkey's the wrong country for me. So it wasn't a bad experience I had. I mean, a lot of people go through life just dreaming of buying a property abroad. You actually bought one. I bought one, but it wasn't a bad experience. But it wasn't a rocket to the moon either. And I sold it a few years ago simply because it was the wrong country for me, and I just got bored with it, basically. But obviously with Thailand, I mean, that is a place where you're not going to get bored very, very often.
Well, since I've been sold on Thailand, for the last 20 years, and I've been exclusively going to Asia for most of that, it just made sense for me to get a property in Thailand. and I can use that as my base of operations to hop around once I'm there.
Yeah. Here's a question here for me and Bowden. Dave, is it possible to get both jabs done from now in the US to be able to go to Thailand in February?
Yeah, I can go get a jab in 5 minutes. The minute I tell the pharmacist I want it, he'll give it to me, and then the next one is 3 weeks later. And I think you only have to be 2 weeks out or 3 for Ed to get into Thailand. You have to be vaccinated, I think, 3 weeks before entering with the second shot.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So I mean, are you okay with when the time comes? Will you have the vaccine? Will you have the jab?
I'll get it only because I don't want to quarantine. You know, Thailand's letting people in without vaccine, but you have to do that quarantine for 10 days.
Yeah.
And
I don't want to get any jabs either. I don't want to get, but I've had the 2 and I'll have the 3rd one. I don't want to have it. I don't want to have any jabs. I don't entirely 1000% trust the jabs. There's conspiracy theories out there saying, please don't have them. But you've got to be realistic. Do you want to travel or do you not want to travel? I mean, when you think about when we were young, when we were kids at school, we had jabs. And when somebody put this bloody needle in our arms, and we didn't think, well, I'm not having that because I have a conspiracy. When you're a kid, you just accept whatever's there. We've all had jabs as kids. Not knowing whether they're any good, simply because we were told that we've got to have them. And well, I'm not at the stage yet when I'm getting suspicious, but the fact is, I understood that when it came out, we were going to have 1, and then it was quickly 2, and now it's 3, and it'll probably be a 4th one next year.
It's going to actually be 1 every year, Ed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, so I've booked my travels for the beginning of January. I'm faced with I'm faced with all the red tape, and I can't stand red tape. I get frustrated at forms anyway, even paper forms, but online forms, online forms. But I'm pleased to say that some people who are very, very advanced in this sort of thing, have had terrible, experience with them. Okay, so listen, we've chatted for a little bit. It's nice to have guests, Dave. You've been on for about half an hour now. We've had a little bit of a chat. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about?
Well, I mean, I don't want to do a political debate on who should and shouldn't be vaccinated. For me, it's a personal choice. It's not, I believe in any conspiracy theory. It just, I don't feel that I'm one of those people. I've never even had the flu in my life. So it was just a matter of, I didn't really feel like I need the vaccine, as millions of people don't, So, because I get hassled a lot on why aren't you getting vaccinated? It's just a personal choice. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I get a message from my doctors saying, Mr. Sweeney, you are welcome to come have the flu jab now and every year, and I still don't have it. I don't have the flu jab simply because the reason I don't have the flu jab is because it's not going to affect my travel in any way. They're not going when I arrive at an airport, they're not going to say if you had the flu jab. No, but they are going to say if you had the antivirus jab. So at the end of the day, you've got to be realistic anyway, haven't you?
Yeah.
Haven't you? Okay. So listen, Dave. I'm going to go back to the chat anyway. It's good having you on. And if you want to come on again, it would be great. We're going to build a little community. Okay.
Anytime you want, Ed.
This StreamYards, as you probably know, I've only added it a few weeks ago, so I'm not. There's lots of things that I've learned how to do. You may have noticed at the beginning of the stream, I thought I'm going to wow the guys with this. I've done this intro, this 100-second intro with jazzy music in the background. That sounds like it's something out of a porn movie. And as soon as I put this on, the guys are going to think, what a great intro, yeah? And then I mucked it up, right? I absolutely balls it up. I couldn't find it, at first anyway. But it's all new to me anyway. Listen, Dave, I'm going to say good night here anyway, because I'm not going to do this stream for too long anyway. But it's great for you to come on and come on again. We'll talk. We'll talk again. I'm sure you'll have some interesting stuff to talk about anyway. Okay.
Anytime you want it.
David. Okay. All the best, mate. Anyway, cheers. Okay, so that was Dave. He's an interesting guy. And he's sure he's got a lot of travel experience. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to have a little a little look at the the chat here. What's going on in the chat? Okay, Johnny D says, take care, Dave. Let's see. Philip. Okay, so anyway, here we are. So what are we going to talk about now? Because what was I talking about before? I was talking about Cambodia Open. Now, this is a massive subject. We could talk about this now. We can talk about this now, but I think the question is that needs to be asked is, because I seen a video today where this guy was going on, Cambodia's open, guys. Cambodia is open. Come to Cambodia, as an alternative to Thailand. Is Cambodia an alternative to Thailand? Does Cambodia have as much to offer as Thailand? Well, I don't think it does really. I mean, Cambodia is a wonderful place. Cambodia only ever had 3 places which were really, 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 really worth visiting. There was Siem Reap, which is a lovely town close to Angkor Wat. There's Phnom Penh, not to everyone's taste, but I loved it. And the third place is the third place was Sihanoukville, that ramshackle, raw-edged, anything goes beach resort. But it's only got 2 out of 3 now. Sihanoukville has gone down the Swanee River. So basically it's gone down the Swanee River. So what has Cambodia got to offer? Now, this is a big subject to talk about, really. And I think really better do a little bit of research on what's happening at this moment in time. But at this moment in time, the new Cambodia, without the benefits of the wonderful Sihanoukville, it's still got the islands there. What has Cambodia got to offer in this day and age? I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure. It's not the Cambodia that I remember from a few years ago. It really, really isn't. But the fact is, it is open, and my idea was that I'm going to have a 90-day visa to travel to Thailand. But I've got a sneaky suspicion now that I won't need a 90-day visa. I've got a sneaky suspicion that most of the time that I'm going to be out there, I will be able to hop over the border to Cambodia and maybe spend a bit of time there. We'll see. We'll see what. You just got to wait and see what happens. Thailand bound. Got my Thailand pass today. Off to Thailand middle of next month. Can't wait. Fantastic. Good for you, Peter. Good for you. I know that you were a bit, a bit hesitant about what's happening out there, but I hope it all works well for you. Really, really do. And I hope it works well for me as well. Come to think about it, my first, very, very first thing. This day and age, I'm still working. I'm still doing a bit, going out and earning a bit of money. I'm being very, very lazy. It's cold winter. I'm sleeping far too much. Far too much right now. I need to do things. I've got it's 6 weeks to go before I'm going to be on an airplane to Bangkok. And I need to get things done before I don't want to leave things to the last minute. So what's the first thing to do? The first thing I'm going to do is get the booster jab this week. Okay. That's the first thing I'm going to do. And next week, if I think it's right, then I will be getting the Thailand pass next week. I'll be looking at that. I think I've heard there's actually a couple of YouTubers. There's another one I know. There's a guy I know who's going out there in January, and he's done his Thailand pass already. And he said, if you need it, then give me a shout and I'll give you a hand with it. So, but I think I've got the gist of what's required right now. So hopefully next week I will do the Thailand pass, and then what happens there? Yeah, you've still got that bloody awful. That awful within 72 hours. I hate that. I hate the idea, the pressure of that. Within 72 hours of flying, you've got that bloody PCR test. Oh, okay. So what did I do last time? Actually, last time before I flew to Crete, I had the PCR test at the airport, didn't I? But that was Stansted Airport. I'll be flying from Heathrow this time. So let's see what happens anyway. Maybe if I can get to the airport, maybe a good few hours before my flight, I don't know if they've got a tent like they have at Stansted Airport that I could actually, maybe get my PCR test done there and get it back within a couple of hours. We'll see anyway. We'll see what happens. Let's see now. Airlines, rant and rave. Airlines are very cautious now. If you don't have a flight out to Thailand within your visa time, you could be denied boarding. Let's see. Airlines are very cautious now. If you don't have a flight out to Thailand within your visa time, you could be denied. Oh, Jesus. Maybe they are cautious. It's never been a problem before because, as I've said, I've only ever stayed in Thailand for up to a month and then gone to other places. But I've actually booked, I think I once booked a 6-month ticket to Bangkok, a 6-month return ticket. And it wasn't a problem then because I stayed basically for the for the first 30 days and then went somewhere else and came back and went somewhere else and whatever. It wasn't a problem, but obviously things have changed now. Let's see. Robert Wilson, Robert Wilson, what's your favorite street in Phnom Penh? Well, my favorite street for many years was the wonderful 104 Street. Okay. Now I have said this in a video before. If you like girly bars with lovely ladies, lovely Cambodian, and they are lovely Cambodian ladies, lovely ladies who call out to you, hello, come in, come on, hello, whatever. There's 2 main streets. There may be more than that now, but there were 2 main streets in the Riverside area of Phnom Penh. There was 136 Street and there was 104 Street. Now, 136 Street, there was more to 136. It seemed to be bigger and a lot of side streets and whatever. There seems to be a lot more to it, okay? But I actually preferred 104 Street because it was just smaller, but it was absolutely wonderful. And, the bars, fantastic. I used to think of them as the Beatles and the Stones. 136 Street was the Rolling Stone Street. There was a lot more to it, whereas the Beatles Street was 104 Street. Now, but I thought to myself, the Beatles Street, that's my favorite because I prefer the Beatles, to be honest with you. 104 Street, smaller, but better quality. That's basically what I'm saying. So anyway, does that answer your question? Robert Wilson, what's your favorite street in Phnom Penh? 104, the Beatles Street. That's my favorite street. And no, don't anybody try and suggest that I've had rumpy pumpy with John Paul, George and Ringo. No, I haven't. I've never even met them. Okay. Jeff Ives, Stephen Hughes, totally the opposite. Let's see. Roy Gold. Well, I wouldn't mind him coming on. I wouldn't mind him. You get Cheap Charlie on next day. I wouldn't mind him coming on. He's a cool guy. Thailand bound. I am defecating myself that I'll get a positive result when I arrive. Peter, I'm with you on that one. I am with you on that one. I have heard more people saying now, at this moment in time, that they're worried if they test positive or they sit next to someone on an airplane that's got the old hand. People have been worried, with their attempts at traveling before. But I hear more and more people say, "Oh, yeah, I'm with you, mate." You just got to take the risk. You just got to take the risk, haven't you? Otherwise, the alternative is to stay here, and not good. Jack, Thailand bound. I've tried to, whatever. Thailand bound. I've tried to get RD as a guest on my channel, but I can't. Who's RD? I don't know who RD is. Chelsea Aerobics. I think that's it. It sounds something like that anyway. Chelsea Aerobics. Hi, Eddie. What's your thoughts on the restaurant and guest house being pulled down on Hua Hin Beach? I don't really have any thoughts because I don't know Hua Hin that well. I've only been there once, but I don't know that, so I must admit that I don't actually have any thoughts on that. Robert Wilson says, love 104. You love 104, I love 104. But you better not have been with any of the girls that I've been with, because I won't be very pleased about that. They're all mine, they are. They're all mine. Oh, my God. I really wish those... I had some great years in Cambodia. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful place. The thing that strikes you about Cambodia is the people. The people are so characterful and they're so wonderful. They're really, really so wonderful. In that part of the world, you know, the Thai people, of course, the Thai people are wonderful. Maybe a little bit more, you know, not as hospitable as they used to be. But no, the Thai people are wonderful. The Vietnamese people are also fantastic people. Cambodian people, absolutely wonderful. I must admit, do you know something? I think I might have said this before, but I've only ever made one journey to Laos, the country of Laos. And the country of Laos, and I travelled all through Laos, and some lovely scenery there, but I wasn't really one over there. What I thought of the country of Laos is that country is surrounded by Vietnam and Thailand and Cambodia and other countries, and somehow they don't have the same personality. The people in Laos, which are sort of kind of nondescript. I spent about a month traveling through Laos, and I went to quite a few places. And do you know what? I honestly say that I can't really remember any of the people there who, you know, they didn't stand out as being having a wonderful personality. They simply have not got the personality of those neighbouring countries. Things might have changed since. Maybe they just haven't got that personality. I'm not saying that they're bad people. I'm just saying that they don't have that kind of personality. Strange, that. Kenny T, get some bar girls in your chat next time, Eddie. Okay. I wouldn't mind. Let's see. Nick Flaherty, PCR test, total racket. Let's see. Robert Jones, steady Ed, your favourite soy in Pattaya is soy 61. Is that the little alleyway up the back of soy 6, you know, the back, you know, for those who like going up the alleyway, up the rear entrance, you know, I think that's that soy for those who like it up the rear entrance. Not for me, mate. Not for me. I love soy 6, you know, soy 61 with the if they want it up the back passes. No, that's not for me, mate. Definitely not for me. Okay. Roy Gold was in Phnom Penh about 2 years ago. There are many other streets that have fun bars worth going to. Was in Phnom Penh about 2 years ago. There are many streets that have fun bars worth going. There are this. I think there was a street. Was a street 30? There's quite a few in that riverside. There were quite a few in that riverside area. But the classic ones are 136 and 104. I don't. It might change. Things might change. Some people are suggesting there are other people who may be other YouTubers who may be a good guest on my show, and they're coming up with some very, very interesting names. Very, very interesting names. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's see. Johnny. Yeah, people are suggesting some really, 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 really good names of people. Okay, I've had a few guests on. You know, Bestie, Steph, both great YouTubers. David, he's come on. He said he'll come on. So big thanks to David for coming on there and sharing. So you've got to get people on. You know, obviously he's not used to StreamYards. I'm not used to StreamYards just yet, but it's nice to have people on anyway. It's all about having a late night chat with people. It really, really is. Let's see. Daniel Mills, Everything Pattaya. I'm not so sure who Everything Pattaya is. I've heard that name. I don't actually know who that is. Let's see. Joe Hart, maybe less chance of a positive if you're fully vaccinated. I would have thought so. Apparently, the booster gives you 90+% immunity from it. Okay. Let's see. I am Spartans. Ed, flush your nose out with a saline solution, salt and water before you take the PCR. You suggested that we should cheat? Is that what you're saying? That we should cheat? Bob, Shield Road. Shield Road. I used to live near Shield Road in Liverpool. Jesus Christ. Where did I live in Liverpool? I lived in a place called, what's it called? Onslow Road. Oh my God. What a terrible bloody place to live. What an awful place to live. When they had that, thing going on recently in Liverpool. I used to live around that area many, many years ago. And God Almighty! I mean, I had the biggest, most ferocious dog, my Doberman. Doberman bitch, huge, bark like the hand of the Baskervilles, and I had to have that in my flat. Otherwise, people, I would have got burgled. It was a terrible place. All kinds of, there was bombs going out. Terrible bloody place to live. Oh Jesus! I once wrote a poem, and it's deep down in my list. You still get it on my channel, called Shit Street. Okay, and that all comes from personal experience. Go deep down in my channel list. That poem is about that street. It really, really is. Go and check that out. But I had to have my big Doberman, to protect my flat when I was out. It was wonderful. That dog was lovely. It was a bitch, but it was bigger than most belts. It was wonderful, wonderful. You had the most ferocious bark. But had some terrible habits, that dog. It really, really did. That big Doberman. I mean, whenever it came on heat, it would try and mate with me. But it would do it in a it would do it in a sort of crafty, sophisticated kind of way. I mean, I came on one day, and the dog was lying in bed wearing the sexy negligee. You know what I mean? It knew what it was doing. Anyway, I'm getting off the Daniel Quigley. Anissa Kate will be good. Anissa Kate will be good. Anissa Kate will be. Are you suggesting that we get Anissa Kate? Anissa Kate on this stream? Are you suggesting that? I'll tell you where Anissa Kate belongs. She belongs in my bedroom. That's where Anissa Kate belongs. That's where she belongs. Oh my God Almighty! Oh, what a woman! What a woman! What a woman! Let's see. Ian Bowden, Eddie, where will you start your epic trip this time? Specifically, we're close to at least mid-January. That won't be a problem. I'm obviously starting Bangkok. That's I love Bangkok. Hated it when I first went there, but on my last, I gradually grown and grown and grown and grown and grown and grown until it is, it's fun. I love Bangkok now. It's not cheap. It's not cheap, but it's a great place. But from Bangkok, where will it go? Oh, well, the obvious place to go is Phuket because that's open. I don't know. I haven't actually made the itinerary. I haven't actually created the itinerary. I don't know. I wouldn't entirely rule out the question after spending the time in Bangkok that I head over to Cambodia. I don't know. Don't know yet. Don't know. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, Ernest Connell. Get Eric Idle as a guest, okay? Always look on the bright side of life. Okay. Okay, let's see now. Okay, but yeah, Bob, yeah, Shit Street. Yeah, okay, go and check out that poem. I had another poem. I've got another poem that I was going to do one tonight, but it's somewhere in my, Google documents, and I haven't got a copy of it, so I'll probably do that next time. Stephen O'Connor, morning from Phnom Penh. Okay, now Phnom Penh. Am I right in saying, is it 6:30 in the morning? Is it 6:30 in the morning in Phnom Penh? Stephen O'Connor, good to hear from you. What is happening in Phnom Penh right now? Somebody mentioned something about 104 Street and 136 Street, and all these lecherous people, like going on about the Riverside area. Stephen, what is Phnom Penh like at this moment in time? And would you be able to tell us anything about? We're hearing that it's all opening. So, what's happening basically? Stephen O'Connor, Cambodia has just had their big water festival last week. I was in Siam Reap last time that I seen that. Lots of locals milling around about, mostly places at home. I heard that they'd cancel that water festival, but obviously, you know different. Different. But how about the bars? Are they open? And it'd be interesting to see how Cambodia is missing that great beach resort, because for me that was a big highlight of Cambodia for me. Really, really is. But I'm sure that the islands of Koh Rong and others are still actually fantastic. Phil Roberts, Liverpool is lovely. I mean, there was a terrorist attack around the corner last week. Then a guy was stabbed outside my house. Then the missus got the antivirus, but otherwise having a great time. Mate, let me tell you, I come from Liverpool, and that is what you just told me. That is bloody nothing. It's nothing. That's a walk in the park compared to some of the bloody things that I remember. How many times I'm walking along the bloody road, and the roads. Prescott Road's cordoned off. There's been another robbery in the shops. It was all happening there. Jesus Christ. Okay, let's see. Ernest Connell, big question, Eddie. Are the bars open? Where? In Thailand? In Thailand? I don't know. Ernest Connell, Thailand? I don't know. Thailand, Cambodia. Not sure what you mean, mate. Simon in Siam. Eddie, so just turned up. Have you spent much time in Isan? No, never been there. Udon Thani looks a nice place. You can meet up with the Isan Farang and Phuket. Yeah. Okay, I've never been to Udon Thani or Isan. Simply because in recent times, it's narrowed it down. The only place that I really enjoy in Thailand are Bangkok and Pattaya. But the fact is, if I had to stay in Thailand for a significant amount of time, the thing is, I would, explore new places. I'd like to see more rural places. I'd keep hearing good things about Udon Thani. The problem with me is that when I travel, I have a bloody big suitcase with me. Now, you may get a cheap flight to somewhere, but it becomes far more expensive when, you add your luggage there as well. Stephen O'Connor, sadly, 104 Street is mostly closed. Still a few open. 136 and 130 is doing okay, but not the same as before. We need more tourists, yeah. Still a few opens, but not the same before. We need more. Steve, can I ask you, do you own a bar in Phnom Penh, perhaps? You need more tourists there. Well, that's that's interesting. Obviously, I mean, if they need tourists, goes without saying. And without tourists, you haven't got a tourist industry, really. Pinball, Udon Thani is a good place to visit. Let's see, Udon Thani is a good place to visit. I've had mixed reviews. I think one vlogger said it was really quite dull, whereas some other places, I think a lot of expats retire there, don't they? And obviously that's where a lot of the girls are. I think am I right in saying that Isan is the largest rural province in Thailand? I've never actually made it there. Okay, Dutch Farang, David. From what I know, all of Cambodia, if any bars are open, it's their decision. The New York native, grab a young Thai bird and visit their village. Exceptional experience. Grab a young Thai bird and visit their village. Exceptional experience, yeah. And I would imagine that you'll get an exceptionally large family network surrounding you. Oh, we've got him here. Here's the man who's going to solve all our problems. He's the one who's going to feed you'll heal the sick buffalo and buy my brother a new motorbike and all this kind of stuff, yeah. Oh, whatever. Taxi to Laos, interesting point, mate. If only the Maxine worked, you wouldn't have to worry about who sat next to you on the plane. Yeah, exactly. Should be 100%, shouldn't it, mate? Should be 100%. Phil Roberts. Let's see. Phil Roberts, Liverpool's a great place nowadays. Eddie's day was my dad's day. Yeah, rough as arseholes. I've lived there for the past 13 years. Can be rough as F, of course, but there are so many places. I keep hearing that I keep hearing, that. Let's just understand something, okay? I'm realistic, okay? I had a crap life in Liverpool. I had a crap childhood followed by an early adult life in poverty. Yeah, okay. And then I thought, I've got to get out of Liverpool because it was deep in recession. There was just no future in them days, okay? So basically, I headed to London and then started to live other way, and then started to actually earn money, actually do things with my life. Okay. Now, all of these years later, people say to me, about Liverpool and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm not going to look back 30 odd years and say that was a wonderful time. It wasn't a wonderful time. It was not. It was not. Jesus Christ, it wasn't a good time. I don't look at things through rose-tinted spectacles. People tell me that, all these fabulous buildings are being thrown up. So bloody what? You can't live off nice buildings, can you? Bobby Cross is here. Hello, boyo. Okay, fine. That's what they say in Wales, isn't it? Ross, Boulders not aware of any reliable evidence shows the Maxine, whatever. Spawn, Phuket will always be the best option due to lockdowns in Pattaya being in close proximity to Bangkok. Okay. Paul Hoskin, nothing wrong with a big woman. Okay. Good for you, mate. If that's what you like, if you like 2-ton Tessie or sensational Stella, then that's up to you, mate. Each to their own. Okay, Ian Bowden, off the beaten track town. There's such a nice experience when, from my experience, no one speaks English. Great for a couple of days, then back for more touristy, far more full. Okay. Bobby Crush, are you from Kensington originally, Eddie? You talk about Kensington and Liverpool, not the posh one in London. I'm not actually from Kensington originally, but I did live there for a few years, close to the Grafton. I lived walking distance to the Grafton, to grab a granny, okay? I grabbed a few grannies in my time. Jesus Christ, when I was 25, I thought it was cool to have 35-year-old women, and I had 35-year-old women 10 years older than me coming back to my flat, and my Doberman, my bloody Doberman bitch said to me, Eddie, you're bringing so many of these 35-year-old women back. You should have a revolving door on your flat, mate. I mean, all these old women who look old enough to be your mother, but that was the Grafton. That was grab a granny. You know what I mean? I grabbed a few grannies in my time. Stephen O'Connor, I'm a teacher, but lots of friends own bars. The local economy is just surviving from this. Siam Reef, what I hear, is very bad here from lack of closures. I think you mean, from closures. Locals don't often go to Western bars. It's a tough time. It's a tough time, isn't it? I mean, last report I heard from Siam Reap was someone done a video and said that the place is just like a bloody ghost town, an absolute ghost town. Very sad, because Siam Reap is such a likable town. It's a lovely, lovely, lovely town. Beautiful town, really, really is. I love Siam Reap. A lot of young people, a lot of young backpackers out, but you just ignore them. There's still plenty for older people to enjoy. Phnom Penh, not to everyone's taste. I love it, but some people didn't like it. Chinookville has gone down the Swanee River now, so I'm kind of wondering, what is the future of Cambodia's tourist industry? But you're a teacher, but you've got friends who own lots of bars. I'm sure there's some good people in Cambodia. I'm sure there are. So it's good. Thanks for replying to that anyway, Steve. Let's see. Bobby Crush. My ex-bear lived on Sutcliffe Street. Did you live on Bowler Street? Sutcliffe Street. So Sutcliffe Street. I've heard of that now. Is that a new street? Is that a street that sprung up from where after I left there? I do remember Bowler Street. No, I didn't live there. Mike from Wales, what are you looking forward to most when you get over there? I'm looking forward most to it not being England. I'm looking forward most to be wearing T-shirts and shorts in January, February, March, when the rest of bloody the UK is absolutely... January, February, March is a terrible time in the UK. It's bloody, bloody awful. It really, really is. But whereas you want to go to the other, Thailand is quite literally the other end of the extreme at that time of year. From cold, rain, dismal, grey, awful England to a beautiful exotic country where you can swim in warm waters and fantastic. That's what I'm most looking forward to. I'm also looking forward to the odd dirty massage as well. Okay. Let's see. We've got Ricky. We've got some real beauties here in Canada too. Fine. Yeah, you meet more in Cambodia. You meet more, or at least I have. I've met far more Canadians than I have Americans. Canadians, I don't know if their work situation is different. But a lot of I've met quite a few Canadians who go out there for 6 months a year during the winter, obviously because it's freezing cold in Canada then. But I tend to meet more Canadians than Americans there. But that's just maybe that's just me. Random and irrelevant question to you, Eddie. What was your first ever? Random and irrelevant question, Eddie. What was the first ever record that you bought? Hang my head in shame. I think it was 1973 when I was 11 years old. And I bought a single 45 for about 50 pence. It had just come out. And that single quickly got to number one. Yeah, it got to number one. But I'm not going to say who it was. I'm not going to say it was because he has become a... don't even mention that man's name anymore. We do not mention that man was for many years perceived as a nice guy, an over-the-top, flamboyant showman. And people who met him said he was a nice guy. When really he was an evil. He should be locked up and the key thrown away. I don't even want to. I'm not even going to mention his name on here, except that he wore shiny platform boots. I'm not even going to mention his name. Don't want to mention his name. Oh my God Almighty! Oh my God Almighty! We don't mention that man's name here. We don't mention that man's name. And for what it's worth, I actually seen him in concert the following year, 1974. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, we do not mention that man's name on here. We don't mention his name. Do you know something? I watched a movie the other week. It was called The Joker. And it was one of those movies where, it's so dull that you feel like switching off to begin with. But later on, it grows and it become a good movie. But there was one scene in there where they actually, and I thought, what? You shouldn't do that. They actually played this bloody pervert music in the background. Go and watch that film, The Joker, and there's one scene where they're actually the Joker in the background. They're actually playing one of this man's songs. No one should play his songs anywhere anymore. And he done a great concert in 1974 at the Liverpool Empire. He was brilliant. He was great, and his backing band and all absolutely fantastic. But we don't mention that man's name on here. We don't mention that man's name here. Bastard! What a letdown! It was like your favourite uncle. Your uncle that you're growing up with. Your comical, jokey, always good for a laugh uncle that you'd grown up. You just didn't, when the news broke about him, you just didn't want to believe it. No, it's like he was your uncle. I'm going into one, yeah. But that was the first record that I actually bought with my own money. It cost me 50 pence. Jesus Christ. Absolutely. Hey, I'll tell you the story about that. I'll tell you the story. I actually had a lot of his singles. I never actually purchased one of his albums, but I did actually have a lot of his singles. And do you know what happened to them? What happened to them? I'll tell you exactly what happened. I actually left them on the windowsill during the hot summer of 1976. And I come back and all the plastic, all the vinyl was all wavy. It was, the sun come through the window and melted all of his records. Oh, Jesus Christ! I knew that there was something really warped then about that man. Stephen O'Connor. That was the one. Oh my God! What a disappointment that man was. What a disappointment. Hey, I'm still not going to mention his name. I'm not going to mention his name. But I wondered, does he watch YouTube videos? Because he's been known to go to Southeast Asia. I mean, Does he watch YouTube? He might even be watching this. I don't know if he's still in his prison cell right now. He might even be watching this at this very moment. If you are, look, mate, you are an idol. You are a great showman. You are an entertainer. You were like the uncle to so many people, but you let them down. You let them down. Your evil, perverted ways. Jesus Christ Almighty! Oh, what a disappointment! What a letdown that man was. Okay, enough of that. Enough. Okay, not going to talk about him anymore. Okay. Anything more in the chat? Right, we waffled on for an hour and 37 minutes. Okay. Crispy 1963. Where's that? Crispy 19. Let's see. Crispy 1963 gives mongers like us a bad name. No. I tell you what, he's not a monger. He's a pervert. He's a pervert. That's what that man is. Mongers are not. We're quite ordinary people. I mean, we're as decent a human being as those 65-year-old women who go out to Gambia and Turkey and Egypt, to go with the young bloody waiters. You know what I mean? They're no better than us, and we're no better than them. But him, Mr. Shiny Boots, Jesus Christ! No, I'm not. That's it. I swore I'd never mention him. I still haven't mentioned his name. His name's not getting mentioned by me. Okay. So anyone else got anything to say? Let's change the subject. Anything else? Okay. So listen, what is this chat all been about? Right. What's it all been about? Okay. I've waffled on. We've gone over 1.5 hours. It's a Monday night. It's all about coming together. And this is all about coming together because we're all in the same boat. We're all watching the news that's coming out of Thailand and Cambodia. Cambodia, it could be a beacon of light. I mean, that news that's come out last week about it opening again. It's that news that's come out of Cambodia last week sounds pretty good. It sounds promising. Let's hope it's the shape of things that come. I wouldn't build my hopes up too much. We're not out of the woods yet. This pandemic soap opera is just going to go on and on. This never-ending pandemic soap opera. You never know what's going. It could be a year. Tomorrow you might look in the news and say, "My God, we're locking down again because the numbers are going up." You just don't know what's going to happen. There are still countries out there that have stated that they don't want British people. Morocco or Qatar. Well, you wouldn't want to go to either of those bloody places anyway. I wouldn't. But there could be other places, maybe even Southeast Asia, which may see the numbers rising there and say, "We don't want you." You don't know. I will celebrate myself personally when I'm leaving a hotel in Bangkok and they say, you're free to go. Go and take 3 months out here and go and explore and fill your boots, man, and just enjoy yourself. That's when I'll celebrate. That is when I'll celebrate. Okay? So let's see. Andrew Johnson, Coach, that was a beautiful. Oh, nice to hear from you. Andrew Johnson. Coach Summit was a beautiful. Now Andrew's Andrew's actually a doer, not a thinker like some of us. Andrew spent 3 months out in Thailand, I think earlier this year. He went out there and he had a great time, and now I think you're coming to the end of your 3 months in Thailand. Now he's come out there again for another 3 months. Fantastic, absolutely amazing, wonderful land. And Koh Samet, beautiful. It is a lovely island. I'm pretty sure you're having a great time, Andrew, and I admire, and I can't wait to get in touch with you again. Obviously, you're at a different time here. We'll get in touch on Facebook and whatever. I'm really, really thrilled for you anyway. So let's see, what have we got now? Spawn. Eddie, are you going to enter on a 60 plus 30 tourist visa? Hopefully, yeah. Okay. This week, booster jab. Next week, maybe the Thailand pass. And then the week after that, maybe look into that visa, that Thai visa. I might not need the 90-day visa. I might not need it. Now that Cambodia is open, I might be able to maybe travel there in between. And I may not need the 90. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Okay. Anything else? Listen, I'm going to finish now. I don't think there's much more to be said. We've waffled on for 100 minutes now. It's been a Monday night. Remember, this is all about coming together and sharing ideas. We're all in the same boat. I think a lot of people would agree. Just a few months ago, were most of us optimistic about going to Thailand or Southeast Asia this winter time? A lot of people would have thought, no, it's not looking good. Whereas now it does seem to be looking good. So it's not perfect right now. There's still things that need to be ironed out and things could change, but it looks a lot more positive now than it did a few months ago. So let's celebrate that anyway. Stephen O'Connor, Philippines are opening up slowly, but double vaccinations are a must. Seems they may do no quarantine time. Let's hope it all opens up. That'd be good. Philippines, another place. I'd love to visit there again. I'd love to visit there. Last time I was there, I done videos on Philippines, and it seemed to go down well. Good place, Philippines. Really, really good place. When I first went there almost 20 years ago, I didn't feel safe in that country because I'd been to Thailand. I think I'd been to Vietnam and other places before then, and I felt okay there. But when I was in the Philippines, I didn't really feel very safe. But I think they've ironed out a lot of the problems now, and I think Philippines is a lot better. A lot better now than what it used to be. I really enjoyed my last visit there, and I would definitely go there again. Definitely. Okay. Steph Traveller, cheers, Eddie. See you still live. Yeah, I'm still alive, Steph. I'm not dead yet. Okay. Good. I'll tell you what, Steph Traveller. Now, listen. Steph was my first guest. Okay, and they say you never forget your first one, do you? Right. Steph was my first guest the other week. Now, he's been doing a live stream. I think he's doing another channel as from tomorrow. I'm not so sure about the details just yet, but Steph's a good guy. He is. Steph's a good guy. Steph Traveller, last drink on the road. Maybe half an hour or so. Maybe I'll get me out together. Maybe bung a pizza in the oven, a co-op pizza in the oven. May just nip over to Steph's, for a late night drunken drink. Sorry, Steph's late night stuff is like having one for the road. That little, you've had a night out, and you just go into that little bar. That little corner bar where you can have one last drink. So it's quite likely, Steph, I may be joining you pretty soon. Okay, David. Okay, it was a pleasure having you on, David. Okay, it was a pleasure having you on. Ignore some of the negative comments. Ignore the negative comments. You were a good guy, and it was pleasant having you on. And you can come on, and I'd welcome you to come on again soon. When we get used to the stuff, maybe get a few people on at the same time and maybe share a few things. Okay, so thanks for coming on, Dave. Really appreciate that. Anyway. Steph Traveller, the bar is still open behind the closed curtains. Stephen O'Connor, right? I'm off to work. Have a good evening. Have a good day, Steve. I didn't know you were a teacher, but have a good day, Stephen O'Connor. Okay, and thanks for your information, mate. Anyway, I'm going to say good night. Okay, I'm going to say good night. Thank you. God bless you. Keep thinking positive. Now, hopefully on Thursday. Not so sure who a special guest will be. I haven't really got anyone lined up, but you never know. Between now and then, there could be a special guest. Steph was great the other week. He was terrific. Bestie was good. I've had three guests on up to now, including Dave. Dave was good. Dave came along, and it was nice to have him on. So my guests have all been really, really good up to now, and hopefully I'll get somebody on Thursday night. I'll say good night. Thank you. Keep thinking positive. And oh yes. Oh yeah. oh yes. I think, seeing as it took me about all of half an hour to make this video, I may as well show you it again. Okay. I'm going to play out my little intro, outro, but I will have I'll have another little video to come along pretty soon. Anyway, maybe one that you'll like. Anyway. Good night, everybody. See you Thursday.